now that you have all this generative stuff coming over, right? Uh, how should one continuously evolve, or how should continuously invest in their learning so that they can stay up to date, right? And
Okay.
what do you see are must-haves? What are some good haves so that you can have a sustainable, long career, right, and an impactful one?
So what I first would like to say there is that people will always have the feeling that they're playing catch up,
Yeah,
and that
yeah,
because new technologies are
yeah,
always
yeah,
coming out all
yeah,
the time,
yeah.
and you have like different approaches there. Like, so from one side, actually, when you're working at a company, just by using the technologies that the company is using, you're able to stay up to date. You'll have always indeed the risk about the technologies that company is not using, that you might
Right,
be getting a bit outdated there. But the way that I try to stay up to date is actually a combination of blog posts, reading on LinkedIn, like also watching YouTube videos, doing online courses. In the past, I would also go to Meetup and organize meetups, and that way you can learn new things from like other people. And
hmm
on top of that, what I've been doing recently is also sometimes just asking some of my mentees, what technology would you use in this case or in that
right,
case?
right,
Because
right,
they also kind of stay up to date in the things that they like. So that
right,
helps me
right,
fill in some gaps. And then you can now also use generative AI to stay up to speed, and you can just ask it questions about similar topics. And that also helps you out to learn more. And it also just can help you to refresh your programming skills. But you always need to be like really careful also, because it's not that it's always giving like the correct answer or the most efficient answer, but it just can help you out to just refresh your memory. So in that
yeah,
way, it's
yeah,
because in the past you would need to read a lot of books,
yeah,
but now
yeah.
it's actually the online materials and the LLMs that are helping out a lot with that as well.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think we had this age where there was a lot of information generated, and
Yeah,
I think we kind of reached the stage where there was more information than you could distill. I
yeah,
think LLMs now kind of make that easier, like where
yeah,
summarization and ability to go through raw information quite quickly is possible.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
One thing I still want to add here, it's also important to memorize some of the key things, because you can't always like be starting completely from scratch and
yeah,
ask for
yeah,
everything. So therefore, it certainly will stay important to remember a lot of things. And also, for example, imagine that your like internet would break down or something, or your internal system would break down. And if in that case, all the information you need is on your LLMs,
yeah,
you have a
yeah,
problem. So in that
yeah,
way,
yeah.
for the most important things, you need some physical records. You need to have some like real memory about it, because otherwise things might become hard.
Yeah, yeah, there's a good point there, right? Because you need to have certain guardrails or
Yeah,
facts or information that you know for sure, you're very sure about them. So that you can actually cross-check your LLM or where you're seeing information from as giving
exactly.
out the right info or not, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
And I think
exactly.
that's something that people working with data understand, but not so much probably, someone who's just getting started with generative AI, that sometimes data can get like really messy and throw you off in totally different directions.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
there.
So that's also why sometimes I ask the answer from one LLM to another one, asking,
Oh,
do you
okay.
agree? That's a way that you
To
can do
cross-check.
it,
Yeah,
cross
yeah,
check
yeah,
it, or like just try it yourself out. With code, it's
yeah.
easy because you can see, does it compile, yes or no?
Right, right, right,
And
right,
then
right.
you can still think, because a lot of times it will give more like hard coded numbers, but
Mm,
you
mm.
still will need to do the conversions yourself. But that's indeed
Right.
easy things. But it's always important to read through your blog to make sure there's nothing weird going on there, that the persons used or correct and everything. Sometimes it might be translating names when it should not be translating names.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
you need to be careful about it.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think that's a good point there that if you're working or you're building something upon LLMs, right? Maybe get responses from multiple places and then
Yeah,
take some kind of an aggregate model. Yeah,
exactly.
right,
Yeah.
right. That makes sense.